So currently I'm almost at 2,000 videos, and that's after 3 months of uploading. Like, you've got to understand, to beat me, you have to be able to do like a relentless amount of work, an inhuman amount of work, because within 12 months I will have succeeded in my goal of over 5,000 videos uploaded. Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't mind sucking at something, but you will never outwork me, because I will always do more actions, because that's the only way I know how to succeed, by doing thousands upon thousands of actions. Like, when I worked in property sales, like, I would do between 100 and 200 calls every day. Like, because, like, if I did that, the end result was I would always meet my sales targets, my sales goals. So, like, I only know how to outwork. You know what I mean? Like, that's all it comes down to, is thousands upon thousands of actions, because by the time I've done a couple of thousand actions, like, my quality of how I perform is typically very high. In terms of my level of understanding is typically very high. So, that's just one thing I accept, is for me, whenever I'm doing something, like, for example, there are some YouTube channels that have 46 videos and they've got like 530,000 followers, subscribers, and they've got millions of views. Like, I've got like 1,900 videos and I've got like 11,000 views. Like, I don't mind. Do you sort of get it? Like, if you can, like, you can outperform me with less actions. But the thing is, at a point in time, the amount of work that I do will like basically catch up to me. In the context of, like, pretty much, like, I don't want to be the best public speaker. No. I'm going to do so much work that there will only be me in the algorithm. So when I'm, my 5-year goal is 20,000 videos. To have 20,000 unique videos on YouTube. Do you get it? Like, like, I'm not going to copy anyone else. I don't care if it takes me 10,000 videos until I reach, my first milestone of success. Like, there is only forward. There is only, work. Like, that's it. That's all I know. So it's like, it's so funny, because, like, that's what comforts me in life. It's just knowing that I have the willingness to do 10, 20,000 actions. I'm okay with it. Like, it's not exhausting for me. And that's an important thing to understand with self-belief, is that, and self-confidence and self-worth, is it's sort of like we build that by the willingness to do the work that we need to do. So, for example, like, if you're someone who, let's say you are, doing YouTube and making content, like, maybe you want to make, like, the highest quality content. You know what I mean? And you're willing to put in, 80 hours into each video. There's no one way. Like working hard and taking actions, like, it's however you want to do it. Like, I just see it as single actions. Like, if I can do more to do more at the highest quality, because that would be extremely exhausting. That's why I don't really care too much about the quality of my videos in the context of, like, I'm not sitting there cutting it so everything is perfect. I don't mind it sucking. It's okay. I'd rather people see me as someone who sucks than me have to spend 80 hours trying to cut and make these videos perfect. Fuck, that would be exhausting. So it's sort of like, that's what I've realized in anything when I'm trying to succeed in anything, is that it's always that false belief that, you know, it's going to be easier than it is, that I don't have to do all the work. And that's sort of what I have to internally fight against and remind myself, is that I have to be okay doing thousands upon thousands of more actions than other people to get the same results. And if I'm willing to do that, like, success is always guaranteed. Like, trust me, there will only be me in the algorithm soon. Like, it's just how it will be. Like, I don't have to be good, I don't have to try, I don't have to, you know, copy other people. Like, it's just the sheer amount of work that I will do will result in the result that I want. Like, it guarantees the result that I want. So, like, you know, and everyone is unique in this aspect that, like, we all see life differently. So, for example, like I said, some people see life as making things perfect and sort of becoming the most proficient at, you know, at all the different aspects, whereas other people just see it as, if I can do more work, you know, I'll get the results. So it's sort of like, you, like, becoming your authentic self is figuring out, like, what feels natural and right for you. For me personally in life, it feels natural that I should have to work, you know, 10 to 15 times harder than another person to succeed and to get what I want. Like, that feels natural to me. What doesn't feel natural to me is that I should care what other people think about the quality of my work. I don't care. If you think I sound like a dick and I suck, okay, you're probably right. But I'll remind you, like trying to impress the girl at the wakeboard cable park, it's only a matter of time before I understand. And once I understand, then I become the best. Like, that's the thing. Like, it just takes me thousands upon thousands of actions to collect that data, because I like to correlate large amounts of data so that I can spot and identify trends, because that's where my competitive advantage is. I'm very good at identifying trends in data and being able to use data to understand audiences and to understand people. So, like, you know, in sales, when I was working in property, because I was doing, you know, 3,000 to 6,000 calls, or I was doing about 9,000 calls per quarter, roughly. So, like, because I was having so many conversations, like, when I would look at data sets or at sort of databases of leads or of potential leads, I would be able to spot and identify trends very quickly in the clients. So, for example, if over the past week I had spoken to, you know, a couple of FIFO miners, let's say 20 or 30 of them, well, then I can extrapolate that and say, well, there's a likelihood that there's going to be a lot more, and I can take the common problems that these people I've spoken to are facing, and I can use that to provoke and sort of to basically provoke other Thyself miners to respond to me and to become attracted to me, so to reach out to me. And let's just say the strategy had a very high success rate in terms of being able to create unique, not content, but sales emails that were highly targeted at specific groups of people that I knew were in the database based on statistics. So then once I was able to do it for the miners, well then, hey, I had talked to some nurses, so we did it for nurses. I had talked to some truck drivers, so let's do it for truck drivers. Let's do it for builders. Do you sort of get it? Like, once I get that understanding and I spot that gap, then I can use it along everything. And that's what's sort of funny for me, is because that's just how it works for me. You know what I mean? It just once I collect enough data of doing enough actions, I just understand. It just becomes a part of me. So it's like, for example, working out. When I was doing bodybuilding, now let's just state this, I wasn't an amateur bodybuilder, I wasn't that, I just wanted to get girls. So I just cared about bodybuilding in the sense of body sculpting and muscle development. Okay? I didn't care about competing and trying to be the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. No, I just cared about being ripped and being attractive to girls. But basically, I used to train for 2 to 3 hours a day in high intensity training. So doing high intensity cardio, then doing high intensity weight training, and then doing circuit training. And after doing that for, a year, my understanding, because I had done so many actions and I had, worked on building muscle, losing muscle, on, changing my body shape, because I found it really fun to work really hard and build muscle and then go put a bunch of fat on and then work it back off. I thought that was fun, but it's also, bulky. I was trying to get bigger to a point, but it's because I had done so much, I now have such an understanding that when I work out, I know the most efficient way to work out for my body. Do you know what I mean? If I gave you my gym routine, it would work for you highly effectively, but it's I've designed it for me. So you would have to figure it out for yourself in terms of, molding it to what it needs to be so that you can, succeed comfortably within yourself. You know what I mean? Because, for example, to the majority of people, training between 2 to 3 hours a day is not a fun time. But when I say high intensity, I mean pouring sweat. Because the thing was, what I realized is, when I can get into that state of being sprinting as far as you can and sort of having the sweat pour out of you, what happens to me is I become a little bit psychotic, to where I shift up into a heightened state. So when I put myself under extreme physical pressure and basically, do high intensity workouts, I become a bit crazy in the sense that pushing myself doesn't affect me. I'm able to, I'm in this state of fight or flight, survival. You know what I mean? So pushing myself to the limits isn't that difficult. Do you sort of get what I mean? Like, when I'm in a relaxed state, working out is very difficult because I'm not really in the mood. It's, uncomfortable lifting the weights, they're heavy. But when I'm in a psychotic state, I don't mind throwing weight around. Like, it's enjoyable. Like, I'm jacked up, I'm ready to go. So, like, yeah, for the majority of people, if they tried to work out like I worked out, like, they wouldn't be having a good time. I was, when I was highly passionate about working out and bodybuilding and all of that, I did my fitness course and I was going to become a personal trainer, and I got one client and I realised training other people wasn't for me because other people are fucking pussies. They don't want to do the work. Like, when I say run until you're about to collapse, like, I mean run until you're physically about to collapse. When I say push the weight that you can handle until your arms give out, until your legs give out, like, that's what I mean. Like, I'm not saying, like, do what you think a good job is. No, I mean push yourself to the point of breaking. Like I am that extreme. Like, when I was younger, David Goggins, while he was around, like, he wasn't really, like, I didn't know who he was, but how he trained, in no way, shape or form did I train to his level, okay? But I had a lot of the same principles of pushing yourself to your absolute limits, because what I realized is, if every day I push myself to the breaking point, to the point where I collapse, like, what happens is the next day I come back, I can push a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further. And it's not that, like, I'm moving in, meters, like feet and meters every day. No, I'm moving in millimeters and inches. Like, that's the thing. That's how I win. I don't seek to win big. Like, I win with 1,000 small steps, 1,000 incremental gains. So it's like, that's what's so funny is, like, I tried to train this fella because he wanted to go to the military. He did go to the military, but, like, he just, like, I could see it. He wasn't pushing himself, and it just, like, I wanted to attack him. So he understood what I meant by, like, if I say run until you collapse, like, run as if I'm coming behind you and I'm going to try and kill you. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to quit, that's okay, but I'm going to start attacking you. And that's why I didn't become a personal trainer. It's just, like, that environment, like, for example, I'll give you an example. When I used to get to the point of breaking, I realized that the more pain I was in, the less exhausted I felt. So the more adrenaline I had pumping, the less exhausted I felt. So I would hit myself. Whoops, I hit the thing. But, like, basically, I would be smacking my chest and screaming so that I could push a couple of 100 more meters. Like, that's the thing. You know what I mean? I'd be slapping myself in the face so that I could push, because, like, as soon as I slapped myself in the face, my whole attention went to that. But pain makes me angry. And when I get angry, like, I become psychotic. So it's like, the angrier I could make myself when training, the further and harder I could push my body physically. And it's so funny because one of my mates, when we were training and we were doing, like, some sort of, like, CrossFit stuff, and we were doing, like, circuit training, and we were doing sprints, and, like, I got bad asthma. So for me, when I run, like, I'll start wheezing and coughing, but I don't care. Like, I'm running. Like, I don't care if I collapse in the process. So like, to get around this, I would be hitting myself while I was running and sort of becoming like animalistic. Because like, that's how I knew how to take myself to the next level physically, was I had to become like I had to revert back to the level of instinct. You know what I mean? To where I'm running through it. But the other thing is I used to use visualization to really push myself far. And what happened is, you know, I'd be how I used to do it with my visualization, for example, is because I was training for the military. Okay, I used to use one scenario that never let me down, never failed, and that was that there was a drill instructor next to me, and I would be talking to myself as that drill instructor. And basically, the way the vision goes is my best mate just got shot. He is mortally wounded and about to die. I have one choice, okay? And that choice is to run, okay? So basically, I've got to pick him up, put him on my back. So I visualized having my best mate on my back, the drill instructor next to me screaming at me, "If you stop, he is dead." And that's what I used to do. So I used to create this belief that the second I stopped pushing meant my best friend was guaranteed to die. Because unfortunately, in combat, that is typically a likely scenario that happens. That if you're out on patrol and your friend is wounded, like, you have to run to get into a medevac. And if you don't do that, like, he will die. You know what I mean? So it's sort of like, yeah, that's the only way I knew how to push myself further than I'd ever been, was to give myself no choice but to push further than I'd ever been. But, alright, well, I'm gonna get some fuel and I'll stop this one here, but you guys have an amazing day. Thanks so much. Bye.